Welcome to another episode of Traveling to Sicily. I have another two books I want to share with you, which are really super important. The first one's called Bitter Almonds. Recollections and Recipes from a Sicilian Girlhood. This one is done by Maria Grammatico, and it was written and assisted by Mary Taylor Simeti. I'll share one with you with Mary Taylor in a minute. But Bitter Almonds is Maria Grammatico's story of her childhood, of what happened to her just after the war. Her dad passed away and she became an orphan, and she was probably about 10 years old and went to live with the nuns. Yes, in the convent. And she lived with them until the age, if I am correct, till the age of about 26 to 28. She walked away from the convent and she opened up a pastry shop up in the mountains of Erici in Sicily. And this is all her childhood. She talks about her childhood, about being orphaned, and her mother had put her and her sister in the convent with the nuns. The nuns in those days were horrible to them, but she learnt about how to make Sicilian pastry with the nuns. The nuns were specialised in the pasticceria maturana, which is the one that you see here with the, looks like apples, lemons, melons, figs, all that sort of stuff. So the maturana is ancient old recipes, and wonderful. I love this book because I connect so well with Maria, and Maria is a wonderful mentor of mine. She's in her 80s and she has her pastry shop, as I said, up in the mountains of Erici, which is in the province of Trapani, which is up high, about 1,000 meters high above sea level. And you can see the clouds coming by. Busloads come to see her. She's the queen of Sicilian pastry. So she learnt all about their recipes, and she opened up the pastry shop in her mid-20s, and she's still in her 80s. So she's had it for over 50-something years. She's one of the richest women up there. And, you know, believe it or not, she copied the recipes, and that's what made her very, very famous. She has a photographic memory, and I take my clients when we go there and we do a cooking class with Maria. She operates in almonds, her thing, and she makes all different types of pastry. So this one is a must to go and see Maria. So at the age of 10, then she ended up opening up a pastry shop. The nuns went berserk on her, and they refused to speak to her. And she thought, I'm still doing this. And she has been continuing doing this, and she's she's the queen of Sicilian pastry. An iconic woman who has so much to offer, and she also has opened up a cooking school where she teaches what she does. And in this one, you can get this book on Amazon. So I'll bring it up a little bit more closer so you can see it. And probably, I don't know how much it is because I didn't buy it. Maria gave it to me. And she has all the pastries that she learnt, and she has them in the back of this book. So this book is a wonderful book to learn as you are discovering and uncovering Sicily. And this is her cooking school. The back of that, you see bits of Erici up on there. Gorgeous, isn't it? You can go on to her website, which is www.mariagrammatico.it. So Grammatico is spelled Grammatico, Matico. That's Maria, very many years ago. She's a little bit older now. She's beautiful. I count myself very blessed to have met her and to constantly go when I come to Sicily and go up there and see her. So the book is called Bitter Almonds. Mary Taylor Simeti is a very good friend of Maria Grammatico. And so the next author that I would like you to meet, who is a New Yorker who met a Sicilian professor, and she's been living in Sicily for over 50 years, and her name is Mary Taylor Simeti. She has written, I don't know, 50 books, and this one is a great one. It's called Pomp and Sustenance, and it has a lot of the Sicilian recipes in these ones. She teaches you and tells you just pasta di pane rimacinato, like that's just bread crumbed with pasta. She gives you all about the history. This is beautiful, a beautiful book. I've got many of her books. She's a wonderful author, and she's a thoroughly, what's the word I'm trying to find? Excavator, someone who knows and digs in, and she researches very, very well. Salsa di pomodoro. Now these books are, this is very young Mary. Mary's probably in her late 70s, early 80s now. There you go. Mary Taylor Simeti was born and raised in New York City in 1962. She made her first trip to Sicily, where she now lives with her husband and their 2 children. She is the author of Persephone's Island, a Sicilian journal, 1986, but she's written many, many, many books. I met Mary in 2017. I met her, we had a cafe at the Opera House in Palermo. A wonderful lady, very passionate about Sicily, very passionate, a naturist, very love about nature, learning, and she gave me a few tips on Sicily, the people, a lot more, because, you know, for me was once I had kept going, the people are different to the kind of people that I sort of had already guessed they were, you know, and meeting people and frequenting with them changes your attitude about the Sicilian culture. So very, very important, if you can and you want to learn more about the Sicilian culture, these two are very, very much entwined together. Now, they're not just the only books. There's so many other things to learn. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about the people, you know, and learning how I said about you needed to have a tour guide, which is very important, and making sure that they've got their registered tour guide and that they've gone through and they go with the requirements. That's very, very, very important. You can travel it on your own, but it's also nice to travel it with a tour guide. It's like an introduction. Like once I've been to Israel, so Israel is very much the same kind of culture as the Sicilian. You know, they have their guidelines, their rules, their regulations, their people. You know, every country is different to another country, and every country brings something to the table. So going for the first time is nice to go and meet how the tour guide, how their culture is. You know, some places you can't go into Israel with short sleeves. You have to have long sleeves. You have to have a scarf on. You know, it's their culture. It's respect to the people, to God, to their land, the way that it's been working. It works for them. So, you know, it's nice for you to adapt that kind of culture. And no, if you'd not known, then you wouldn't, you know, you go in there and you might offend somebody, and you really don't want to do that. Now, I went to Egypt with my mum in 2006. I went to the Valley of the Kings. I did about 3 weeks with her. We climbed up Mount Sinai, and in Cairo, you could wear whatever. You know, you could wear short pants, just a bikini top, and that. But then when you travel into Jordan, I did Jordan as well. I did Bethlehem. I went into the airport. I stopped at the Amman airport with Mum, and we were another 3 weeks in Israel. And when we went to the airport, you knew straight away you can't be going in bikinis and stuff like that. All the people, you know, wear a certain dress code. Understanding the dress code, understanding the people is like good. So there's really not much dress code in Sicily, but you will find a dress code of people dress up. They really dress up. They dress up to the T's. They dress up to the T's right through. They go out for dinner, even to have a coffee. Now, I'll tell you something funny. When I was in my 20s, I went to live in my mum's town, Milazzo, and I lived there for a year. Now, we're used to going to the milk bar here in our slippers. Some people I've even seen, not so much now, but some people even with their, you know, PJs and 90s just to get milk down the local milk bar. So I was just dressed with a T-shirt like this, a pair of, you know, tracky pants and my runners. And I was going to go down the street and get some milk and bread and stuff like that. And my auntie said, "Where are you going?" And I said to her, "You know, I'm going out. I need a couple of things." She goes, "You're not going out like that." I said, "Why?" She goes, "You're not going out like that." I said, "Okay, what do I have to do?" So she said to me, "You have to get dressed up, because people judge you. They look at you and they judge you accordingly to the way you're dressed." And that's fair enough. And I think that the culture continuously goes that way. So, you know, today we're a little bit more broader and wider in our way of thinking, and it might not be so. I've been to Italy many, many times. I've been to France, Paris, Switzerland. I've done Egypt. I've done Israel. I've done Ireland. The dress code was, you know, a certain way. You do notice a bit different. It's like this. If I come to you and I'm all dressed up, it's the first, you know, 5 seconds that people judge you straight. We are people like that. If I come to you just with a T-shirt, if you've got that blasé and it doesn't matter to you, but it's a culture. It's all about culture. And so Italian culture is very much like the Parisian culture. They all dress up. Oh my God, you walk all over Paris and you see people in jackets and winter and stuff. We're here, we just got normal jacket. You know, there they got coats. They got, you know, with fur. It's different, but it's beautiful because you get to change and you get to dress up like that. And you just think to yourself, hey, you know, you can play dress up. That's cool. So that's just, you know, another thing, another couple of tips about going there to Sicily and traveling to Sicily, and, you know, the dress kind of code, the culture code, I read this, a friend of mine told me the other day, and I thought it was really, really funny. Now, it had a thing up there, coffee, when you go to get coffee. So if I say to you, I want a coffee, it had €3. On the second line, it said, I want a coffee, please. It had €2. On the third line is, may I have a coffee, please? €1. Wow, does that make sense? How we speak. We don't just go in there have a coffee. We have to also understand that there's a barista behind there. You know, people are very much about intimacy, community, people. Like, may I have a coffee, please? Per favore, mi dai un caffè. That's, may I have a coffee, please? Per favore, mi dai un caffè. Or you can have it another way. Per favore, posso avere un caffè. May I have a coffee, please? Now, you don't go in there and say un caffè. It's a bit like Rudy. Per favore, posso avere un caffè. May I have a coffee, please? And it does make sense. Like, if you go somewhere and and you're on the other side and someone says coffee, please, coffee. Well, okay, but if someone says to you, may I have a cup of coffee, then that's a different thing. You think, yes, I would love to give you a cup of coffee because you've got the way you've said it to me. So, and you never go to a coffee shop and say a latte, because you will get boiled milk. Yes, caffè latte, a coffee latte. It doesn't make sense in English, but in Italian it's caffè latte, per favore. So if you want to go to the toilet, there are many ways of saying. You can also say dov'è il bagno or dov'è il toilet. In dialect, it's a gabinetto, which they will look at you and you I've been there. I had to remember how you said it in Italian. I had just only remembered the dialect, and so the lady looked at me like, where are you from? So there are so many wonderful ways of experiencing and learning and growing and broadening our own library of horizons of when we travel to Sicily. And I'm going to do many, many, many more. But these are just the little jewels that I've learned along the way. And when you walk in, ciao means hello and goodbye. Always acknowledge the people that you go into a store, into a restaurant, into a bar especially. It's nice to go in there. We don't do that here in the Western world. We don't have that education, but we're getting there. We're getting there. I think we're slowly getting there a little bit more about acknowledging the person that is behind the counter, in the pastry shop, in the butcher, in the supermarket, wherever, in the markets especially. Those people have been there for all morning and they've been working, and they work all day and all night, and they're up again, and working. So it's just acknowledging the people and saying buongiorno means good morning. Bon pomeriggio means good afternoon. Buon pomeriggio. Buongiorno. So buongiorno is good morning. Buon pomeriggio is good afternoon. E buonasera is good evening. Buonanotte is good night. Just a few things that you could just learn along the way. And I know we've got Google, and you could learn from the computers and learn a little bit there. And they've got these apps, I suppose, on television, on your phone that you could go from. But just little tidbits that will make your travel so much more easier along your way as you travel to the beautiful island of Sicilia. Sicily is like a sunlit paradise where God kissed it. It's just people come from, even from Italy, they have their summers in Sicily. It's a little bit more cooler along the way. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would love to have you as part of my community. Subscribe and follow me on Instagram, and I will see you on the next video that I do. So ciao, arrivederci. Arrivederci means see you later. Arrivederci.